Hi, it's Lisa Cuneo and welcome to my scrapbook table. This video is a little different than my usual. I had some requests to make some card videos. So I had leftovers sitting on my desk from supplies from another project, and often when that's the case, I like to make some cards with them because I already know that the items go together and I just like to do that. I make a lot of cards anyway. So I have some 49 and Market rub-ons. I'm going to use up the last of what I have from what my sister gave me. And I have 4 distress oxides there. And this stencil, I have no idea where it came from. I don't keep packaging from my stencils. They all just get thrown in a drawer. Maybe I should change that, but for now, that's what I do. That's the first, the trial one that I did for these colors, because I was kind of worried it would look Christmassy, but it does not. So I chose, let's see, my 4 colors. Let me get my inks that are still here. Festive Berries, Vintage Photo, and then the green on the far left is Rustic Wilderness, and next to that is Evergreen Bough. So I'm putting those on here, kind of following the same location for colors that were on my test piece, because I liked that. Sometimes I hold my stencil down with pixie spray. It would have been a little easier if I had done that, but it didn't matter. It turned out just fine. And so the funnest part about stencils is when you're going to lift it off, and that's coming up here in a second. There's no rhyme nor reason to why I have some inks that I'm using with brushes and some that I'm using a blending tool. I have 5 or 6 blending tools, but for some reason only 2 of them were in my drawer, and I'm not sure where the other ones would have gone. Nobody else in my house uses them, so they're wherever I put them, and I can't find them, so I just grab blending brushes. Here's the fun part. There we go. I love that moment. So close up my inks. And I was kind of worried that the rub-ons would not do well with the inks when they hadn't sat and dried for a while, but it turned out not to be a problem. I thought I might have to come back and finish later or the next morning or something. And so here I am putting on these rub-ons. This one was already cut to a corner, so I just tucked it in this corner. I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little raspy. I just got up a little bit ago, and I don't usually do voiceovers first thing in the morning. So my throat is a little froggy. And here's where I realize it's not going to cause any trouble that this ink might not be completely dry, because sometimes oxides take a little bit to dry, but they were fine. And I'm adding this sentiment from the same batch of rub-ons that says Sending Smiles. And I like how that bold ink, it kind of looks black here, but it's not. It's a greenish color, greenish blue. I like how that bold ink stands out so nicely against the busy pattern in the background. This is a different kind of card for me to make too, because mostly there's at least some stamping on my cards. I used to do just about complete stamping on my cards, but now they're kind of a combination of die cutting and stamping and mixed media. But this has 0 stamping on it, so that's not my usual. There we go. There was one little piece of that S that I had to go back and make sure it's stuck. There. And I'm also realizing now that as I watched the video to do the editing, that I should zoom in closer to my table if I'm making a card video, because it would show up a lot better, and I have the space to do that, because you're getting a good view of my table. I do love my table. I bought it at a yard sale 24 years ago, I believe. And it has seen a lot of craft projects, not just scrapbooking. It has also seen a lot of puzzle doing. When my kids were growing up, we would often have a puzzle going on this table. So I'm figuring out where I want this big floral. And here we go. There it's on. And I also added, the original sentiment said a little note, but something got on the E in little, so I had to do a little bit of surgery here and cut out the word little, and so now it just says a note. And I know that on camera it seems like the sentiment blends in too much with the background, but in person you can see it just fine. Trying to pull that little piece off. There we go. And there it is. Aren't those colors pretty? I have a leftover butterfly, so I decide to put it here because that takes care of all but a couple little hearts from my sentiments. And I believe that's all the rub-ons I'm doing. So clean up a little bit. And my camera got turned off there. I'm not sure how that happened, but all you missed was me trimming these down a little bit and choosing some background papers from my scrap bins. And then I'm putting these on a regular A2 sized card. I buy my card bases at a store in Brunswick, Ohio called Hollow's Paper Crafts. It's kind of famous. Anything paper you want, they have. And so I just buy a nice heavyweight cardstock, come home and cut it all in half. And very, very inexpensive. I get my envelopes there as well. So there we have it. And last I decide I want to add these gems. I believe these are from Stampin' Up. At first I thought they were Creative Memories, but now that I look at it again, I think they're from Stampin' Up. And they're kind of multifaceted. There's two shades of blue on here, a darker and a lighter. And they are just so pretty. They're a little, especially the larger size, are a little too big and thick and sharp for me to be comfortable putting in my scrapbook. I do use the smaller ones in scrapbook pages, but this was nice to have a use for some of those large ones, and I'm really happy with how these two cards turned out. So that makes 10 cards I made this year, which isn't a lot. Usually I do more like 15 a month or so. So I haven't done very many this year. Maybe that'll change in a couple weeks when I have a little downtime. So there we go. There are some still shots coming up in just a moment. I would love to know if you make cards and scrapbook or if you just do one or the other. So let me know that in a comment below. I hope you have a great day. And here are the still shots. Thank you so much for joining me. Goodbye.